So this is the next project. I bought this for £50 non-runner. I've took all the plastics off last night. I've dropped the oil out. The sump bolts on the other side of the engine through one of these holes. Anyway, the oil's out, just when I split the engine, it's not all oily inside. I'll show this. That's the kickstart. It looks like it's been in a yard for 30 years, but it's all rusty in there. We get the engine out today, which I think is those two bolts, that bolt, the carb's off. He gave us the carb slide but without the pin, saying he couldn't find a carb rebuild kit. We'll get the engine out anyway. Take the exhaust off first. That WD-40 under the two bolts what go into the head there, and the exhaust, and I WD'd this one, and I think there's another rusty one on the exhaust somewhere down there, but the exhaust come off first. So I'm going to get that bracket off now, this bracket with this bracket, then tip the quad up to get underneath to get the two bolts at the front. And that's that bracket off there. Just put the bolts back in so you don't lose them. I've took the chain front sprocket guard off because I'll show why in a minute. That's just the guard, that's the bracket. This bracket's slack, it's got a washer there. Before I take them two bolts out the front, it's always best to get a windy gun. I WD-40 last night. Get the windy gun on that. It comes off anti-clockwise and take that off. Because if you take the chain off and the engine out, they're hard to get off. Sometimes you can put a clutch holding tool on there and nip it into the teeth to get it off, but they're dead tight, so it's best you're meant to put the back brake on and put it in gear and take it off, but the brakes don't work on this. Well, they're disconnected, so we're going to get that off first, then them two bolts. That was easy. There's a bolt and a washer. Just put that on there. Now we'll tip it up and get the two bolts off the front of the exhaust. So that's where your sump plug is, underneath the engine. And there's the two bolts we're going to get off. That's the exhaust bolts out, just put them back in the hole so you don't lose them. Now we'll tip the quad back over and take the full exhaust off. So that's the exhaust off. I've slackened this big bolt here. I've slackened those two, and on the other side I've slackened them in case that triangular bracket needs to come off. That just pull through. That one's slackened. That one's slackened. There's no more on than I can see. There'll be some wiring connectors, but just don't clip. Put some WD on there. Split link. I'm going to give that 5 minutes, then get that off. That's the front of the split link off. Drop down there somewhere. That's the chain off. Now we'll take these out. We'll take that big one out up the front. Take that one out first because that will be holding most of the weight. So just get this out. There's a washer behind it, and we'll just tap that through. Lift the engine up as you tap it through. There's that spacer on the other side of the engine. How that fitted. So just remember that goes on there. Now we'll get the bolt, put the bolt on there just for safekeeping. And remember there was a washer as well. We'll slacken them two back ones. We've already stacked, we'll just take the nuts out. That one come out easy. That's that one out. Just the same size as the other. That's the engine moving out. It's this way here. I'm just going to disconnect this oil bottle instead of taking that off and putting bolts in tubes. I'm just going to disconnect this on the other side just so that comes out of the engine, because that's the only thing that's stopping it. So we'll get that off now. So that's the two-stroke bottle took off. Now the engine should just lift out. It's only the throttle cable holding it in, joined on the oil pump on the bottom. throttle cable was snapped at the top anyway. That's the engine out. That's it out now. It was just, I had to loosen a couple of connectors at the end. It was just 4 of them. There's the engine down there. So we'll get on to stripping that soon. I'm going to take this back plastic cover casing off. It was that on top of the engine. That goes through the top engine mount bolt. I've WD-40'd this, so I'm going to take that nut off. Get the kickstart off first, then get this casing off. Then the casing behind it, to see all the kickstart inside, why it's like that and jamming. So that's the 2 screws out in the kickstart. That back screw, it's got a rubber grommet on, that goes into the bigger hole there. And that screws just like that for the front. We'll put them back in. Got the kickstart off as well. Mould under there and been clean for a while. So this here's the air filter. Anyway, we'll take the air filter off, and all these Allen bolts, there's a couple underneath all around, we'll take them off and then we'll slide this off. We'll just put them 2 screws in as well so we won't lose them. So we'll get the air filter off, we'll have a quick look at it, then we'll get this case off. Coming off in a little bit, it's just come apart. That's the air filter anyway, or what was left of it. So that's all the case bolts out. Of all that size, apart from this one here, is that size. There's another long one like that, goes into that one there. And the kickstart shaft's got a circlip on and a washer, so I'm going to take that off as well. It's a circlip. You've got that washer. Now there's a nut there. There's an Allen key bolt there. I put the 2 nuts back on there for the air filter. But I think they might be holding something onto this casing. So I'm going to try and get the casing off now. If not, I'll loosen that middle one. So we'll go and get the hammer and give it a tap. I've took this long bolt out the middle as well. That's how long that one is, that's the longest of them all. It's coming up. So that's it up now, ready to lift off. Looks like there'd be a gasket on the road. Next, please. That's it. Just pull that black pipe off as well. It just pops off the other side. Right, that's inside the casing. There's the kickstart shaft. Put the kickstart on and have a look at this, see why it was running all stiff and stuff. And I've put that 10mm back on there because that's part of that. When that 10mm was off there, that was popping out, so that's how you must take the back off. And there's the 2 studs there, which will be the air box, the air filter one. So I just pull them off and pop it through. So anyway, I'll put the kickstart on. See why it was running so rough. And that's it there when the kickstart was on. Since that's dropped off, the kickstart swinging back. So I think everything's just rusty really. That's all that anyway. So I'm going to have to take all that. I need the manual because then cogs have to line up with the teeth on that, and it is jamming when you pull the kickstart round anyway. There's inside the engine. Yeah, looks alright. It's an air filter on there. I'll just turn it over, and it turns over dead easy. See there, marks on the piston on the link, there's a good carbon there. That doesn't matter. Case just pops off as well. Goes on there, rigs up with the other one. So we'll strip this part down, see what's rubbing. Just take these 3 nuts off, and 2 for the air filter. And then there's that one. And just watch how this comes off. I need that gasket as well, because I have to rip it open the cases. Right, so when I pull this, there might be some tension, so I'll have to watch. Let's just come off like that. I'll put the nuts on them bolts. I've got this spring around there. Just put the kickstart on. There's the kickstart shaft. No wear marks on it, I think, nowhere. I've got the return spring. So there, that's inside the casing. That's out the casing. Just put these 3 back on here, and that does look bent out of shape, and that up here and here. I don't know if it's meant to be that like that though, because I cannot find this part nowhere. See, it's bent down there. It should be flat. It's going down. See it there, it's starting out flat, then it's going down and it's bent. So it could be this. Anyway, now I'm going to take the head and barrel off, because when I'm turning over there's not very much compression. We'll just get these 4mm bolts out and the head will come off. I think that they're the long bolts will go right in, so the barrel will probably be connected to these bolts as well. So we'll get them out. Do them in a crisscross pattern. Now do this one. And then it'll be this one, but before I go any further, I always forget this. Loosen the spark plug now, because it's hard when the head's off to get it off. That's it slack. And this bottom one, the plug I can't really see it in the dark. So them 2 nuts have come off. These nuts have stayed on the studs. Just pull them out. Get the head off. Plenty of carbon in there. You can see it bolt built up down the bottom. Slide the barrel off. There's the barrel. It's all dusty. And there's the piston. We'll get the piston out. I'll get that little clip out. There's the piston out. Just took that casing off, just to get to this side of the piston to push the pin through. And I'll put the piston in the barrel as well. Pop them rings off. And I'm going to give this top a wash. Just see if that is muck or marks, but it just does look like muck to me. Right, so we'll go and wash this. So that's the piston cleaned up. Those aren't scratches, just haven't got a wire brush. That's just carbon. So we'll try it in the barrel. It's got a tiny rock, but that doesn't matter because the rings aren't on. Then if I do find a manual to test rings, you put your rings in your barrel. Make sure it's all the same length down. And looking at that ring, just by looking at it, the size of the gap, I would say the rings are wore. We'll try the other ring. And that's the gap on the other ring. So the rings are definitely worn. The crank's alright as well. We need a base gasket when I can find one. Clean all these bits up. Find out about the kickstart, about that bit. Then we can put it back together.